Oh, gosh. Buckle up because Hollywood just served us the drama of the decade, and it's got Rachel Zegler smack in the middle of it, like front row, center stage, spotlight on kind of middle. We're talking total meltdown, like biblical proportions of career collapse. And guess who lit the fuse? Rachel herself.
Disney's $350 million live-action remake is now officially rated worse on IMDb than The Human Centipede. This is part of her new strategy to win people over. She hit Instagram with a post not about her acting or the movie or even an apology to all the fans for her nonstop foot and mouth disorder. No. And then whatever she does, stop pulling these transparent Hollywood PR stunts. They're not connecting her to people, especially as the film is in the bottom of the top 10 charts in last place. Everybody seems to know why it's failed.
So here's the tea. Disney, as in the magical, dreamy, happily ever after Disney, just removed every trace of Rachel Zegler's Snow White from stores and theater. Yes, removed, gone, erased, as if the film never existed. You'd think the evil queen cast a spell or something because Rachel's fairy tale just turned into a full-on nightmare. And let's be honest, sure, Disney's been trying to clean up its legacy lately, right? They've been under fire trying to save face and keep the nostalgia dollars flowing. But this? Oh, honey, this is not just a cleanup. It's a scorched earth PR maneuver.
Rachel is going after Sony, Paramount, and Lionsgate for terminating her contract.
I mean, come on. Pulling an entire movie from every possible platform? Talk about drama. And all because Rachel couldn't stop stirring the pot with her hot takes? Overkill or karma? You decide.
There is no way to rehab Disney's image after 4 weeks of Snow White humiliation.
Let's not pretend she made this movie solo. There were hundreds of people who poured their blood, sweat, and careers into this project. Designers, set builders, VFX artists, marketing teams, and now their work, poof, vanished. Why? Because one actress kept digging herself into a PR black hole with every single interview.
Fastest way to tank your career, go out there and start running your mouth and trashing the original IP of the film you're in.
Not long ago, it looked like Rachel was on top of the world. She had just wowed us in West Side Story, and then boom, Disney came knocking, handing her the most iconic crown of all time, Snow White. She was the new princess, the next Disney Golden Girl. The buzz was electric. Fans were excited. It was supposed to be magical. And then she opened her mouth.
I just wanted to go on this little baby rant about Rachel Zegler, Disney's worst investment ever in the history of Disney investment.
Disney, clearly fed up and panicked, made a shocking decision. They pulled the entire movie, every theater, every shelf, just ripped it out of circulation. And we're not talking some small budget indie flick. This was their princess reboot, their golden ticket, and they yanked it like it was radioactive.
Rachel Zegler is a loudmouth dope.
Snow White producer's son blames Rachel Zegler for poor box office.
So what went wrong? Oh baby, let's just say Rachel didn't fumble the bag. She set it on fire and tossed it into a PR volcano. And the cherry on this chaotic Sunday, The Simpsons dedicated an entire episode to roasting her. When The Simpsons comes for you, you know you messed up.
She has this underlying anger and hatred in her that always has to take it like one step too far. So first and foremost, if we're going to be cast as Snow White, maybe appreciate the original Snow White.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
God forbid a woman dream about true love. We're all just sitting around here, oh, maybe I could be president one day. I hate men, I just want to be president.
Now, to be fair, at first people thought Rachel's spin on Snow White was kind of refreshing. A modern princess, a leader instead of a damsel. We stan a feminist fairy tale twist. But then Rachel didn't just tweak the narrative, she bulldozed it. And people heard that bulldozer loud and clear.
Do you want to be Snow White or do you hate Snow White? Do you want to destroy Snow White? They went way too woke. They ended up kind of changing the whole movie.
Then came the quote that changed everything. Rachel called the prince a stalker. Yep, she said it's no longer 1937, and this dude is basically creeping on Snow White. And just like that, clock struck midnight. The Cinderella moment was over. Fans clutched their pearls, critics groaned, and even supporters started side-eyeing.
When a cartoon character that was voiced in the 30s has more humanity and charm than the actual person who was filmed on screen in live action, that's a problem.
But wait. She wasn't done, not even close. Rachel kept going, doubling down, calling the original Snow White outdated and the prince weird. And in case you don't know your Disney lore, the prince in that film is a total sweetheart. Classic fairy tale gentleman, not exactly lurking in the bushes with binoculars.
I just have to note the smugness and superiority on this 23, 25, something like that, girl's face. Young, a little bit of humility, you know? This is a story that's been around for a long, long time. You're not improving on it. So they took out the famous theme song, Someday My Prince Will Come, because it's not fair for a woman to live for love or want to find love or want to find a prince.
He's literally just doing what princes do in fairy tales. He sings, he saves the day, he's romantic. But Rachel decided that was weird. Girl, you're not pitching a Netflix thriller. You're starring in Snow White and calling the hero creepy, not the power move you think it is.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Apparently, Rachel was more interested in turning Snow White into a statement than staying true to the Disney magic. Before the movie even hit screens, she managed to alienate half the fan base, and just when you thought she might back off and regroup, boom, she dropped a politically charged Free Palestine tweet right in the middle of her press tour. Now, freedom of speech, absolutely, but timing, babe, timing. You're promoting a fairy tale not running for office. That tweet added so much spice to the already bubbling pot of controversy, and of course, when backlash hit, she threw in the classic, if you disagree, unfollow line. Oh, girl, telling your fans to get lost is never the move, especially when you're hemorrhaging public support.
BBC said Disney's Snow White has a major identity crisis. I mean, guys, every single one of these reviews is just absolutely brutal.
But oh no, the drama wasn't done cooking. Enter The Simpsons, and trust me, they brought the heat.
And this bed is just like the first one.
That legendary animated juggernaut aired an episode called Snow Woke, and let's just say it didn't hold back. It took everything people were side-eyeing about Rachel and cranked it to 11. Their version of Snow White, a preachy, never-sailing feminist who wouldn't shut up about smashing the patriarchy and corporate greed.
Because the film is apparently just that bad.
She lectured the press, slammed the prince as toxic masculinity incarnate, and even called the dwarfs symbols of labor exploitation. Savage doesn't even begin to cover it. And the best part? The writers didn't even need to exaggerate. They just lifted stuff straight from Rachel's real interviews. Brutal, hilarious, iconic.
Trump wins, and Rachel decides to go on really just a psychopathic, demented rant, basically accusing all Trump supporters of being awful people, which is par for the course. I'm okay with that. But then she wished harm on Trump and all of his supporters for the next years to come. And you're so out of touch. You've never probably even spoken to a farmer or a rancher. You don't know any people to speak up who have issues filling up their tank. You've just been living in Hollywood, La La Land for so long.
So how did Rachel respond? Did she clap back, laugh it off, try to redeem herself? Nope. She did nothing. Not a tweet, not a teary Instagram live, not even a screenshot of her notes app. She vanished, total blackout. And let's be real, when the internet's clowning you 24/7 and you go radio silent, it looks like defeat.
Are there any dwarves in your story?
Yes, but they're my own original creation.
This wasn't petty gossip or some reality star feud. This was a full-on cultural takedown. The Simpsons doesn't just mock anyone. When they drag you, it sticks. And Rachel, she said nothing. In that silence, it spoke volumes. Fans were like, where's your voice now, queen? Disney probably told her to zip it, but girl, damage done. And while the world waited for Rachel to respond, she chose silence. Not a single "you misunderstood me" tweet. No learning and growing Instagram reel. Not even a pity PR puff piece. Nothing, just crickets. Girl, you're not Beyonce. Silence only works when the world wants to protect you. Rachel, not so much.
It's not funny, Bart. Millions of girls will grow up thinking that this is the right way to act.
The internet, it had a field day. That Simpsons episode went viral. Memes flooded TikTok. Side-by-sides of her real-life interviews next to the cartoon version spread like wildfire. The internet devoured her. Every sassy quote she ever made came back to haunt her, now with snarky captions and crying laugh emojis. And here's the thing, it wasn't just funny, it was accurate, uncomfortably accurate. Her real-life Snow White press tour already felt like satire. The Simpsons just held up a mirror, and Rachel didn't like what she saw. And behind the scenes, things got worse, much worse. Hollywood is a town of whispers, and when whispers start turning into headlines, baby, the knives are out. Disney, they weren't dialing her for an apology. No, ma'am. They were backing away slowly, like someone stepping around a freshly set bear trap. Instead of addressing the mess head-on, they pivoted fast. Scheduled promotions? Canceled. Press appearances? Pulled. Focus of the marketing? Shifted entirely. Now, the spotlight was all on Gal Gadot. Yeah. While Rachel was supposed to be the star, Disney was out here promoting the villain. Like, Gal Gadot was suddenly the face of the project. I mean, damn. When your own studio starts highlighting the evil queen over you, that's not shade. That's an eclipse. And the public? They didn't miss a beat. TikToks labeled Rachel as radioactive. Twitter threads dubbed her a walking PR disaster. And studios? They were listening. Rachel Zegler went from rising star to industry pariah in record time. It wasn't just the fans who ghosted her. Producers started pulling the plug. Insiders whispered that even Netflix quietly shelved projects tied to her. That's right, streaming giants were giving her the cold shoulder. And she did all of it without scandal, no arrests, no leaked tapes, no shady backroom drama. Words, her own words. Remember this iconic meltdown? I'm not here to be loved, I'm here to lead. Girl, that line had potential in a superhero movie, but in the middle of a fairy tale where fans were literally asking for romance and whimsy, it came off like a monologue from Game of Thrones, and the internet latched on. I'm Here to Lead became the joke of the season. Parody videos, fake trailers, sarcastic fan edits, it was everywhere. Rachel had tried to be the revolution. Instead, she became the roast. And the most painful part, people weren't laughing with her, they were laughing at her. But you know what hurt her brand the most? It wasn't The Simpsons, it wasn't TikTok. It was the silent, no damage control, no attempt to show humility or growth, just ghosted her career into the void. And in today's industry, silence reads like guilt. If you're not defending yourself, you're basically admitting defeat. Studios can't sell that, and fans, they eat that up in the worst way. Within days, Disney started erasing her, literally. Her name was quietly stripped from promotional materials. Her image downplayed. She had been the face of the film. Now, it was like she never existed. A few years ago, Rachel would have been first in line for any fantasy franchise or teen drama reboot. But now, the word around casting circles was toxic. They called her radioactive. And in Hollywood, that word is lethal. When you're labeled as a risk, the phone stops ringing. And Rachel, she might need a burner because nobody's calling. And it wasn't just the movie. Her entire persona had become a meme, a punchline, a lesson in what not to do during a press tour. This wasn't just backlash, it was digital erasure. Hollywood's version of exile. A magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Spoiler, not Rachel. You had one job, girl. One. Smile, wave, promote the movie. Instead, she gave lectures on patriarchy and dropped hot takes like fireballs. It was less Snow White and more Snow Woke. And the audience, they weren't buying it. Even casual fans were turned off. Where's the romance, they asked. Where's the joy? Rachel had stripped Snow White of her innocence and charm and replaced it with boardroom feminism. The fairy tale was gone. And then came the Reddit threads. Brutal ones. Page after page, dragging her for modernizing a character no one asked to modernize. She wasn't just an actress anymore. She was a symbol of everything fans feared about Hollywood's obsession with reboots and agendas. Rachel didn't play Snow White, she rewrote her. And people hated it. People mocked her, saying she didn't even understand the point of the original story. Who needs a prince, she asked. Apparently, a lot of fans do. The film was supposed to be about dreams and love. Rachel made it about lectures and rebellion. And the audience wasn't, they were exhausted. The next twist? She disappeared entirely. Post-Simpsons, Rachel Zegler became a ghost. No red carpets, no statements, no apologies, silence louder than a press junket meltdown. And the industry took notes. Behind closed doors, studios started whispering that her time might already be up. In Hollywood, public image is everything, and once you lose control of the narrative, you're toast. Of what isn't kind to mistakes. And Rachel didn't just make one, she made a series of them, then refused to own any of it. She told fans to unfollow. The internet listened. She said she didn't care about being liked. Turns out, being liked is pretty crucial when your career depends on audience goodwill. By the time the dust settled, Rachel Zegler had gone from Disney's crown jewel to a case study in what not to do. PR firms probably use her saga in training now. And here's the real kicker. She had the talent, she had the look, she had the platform, but what she didn't have was the humility to know when to stop talking and the grace to say, hey, I messed up. Hollywood loves a comeback, but it also loves a clean image. And Rachel, she's got a lot of scrubbing to do. So what now? Can she recover? Maybe, but it's going to take more than a cute TikTok and a heartfelt tweet. She'll need to actually listen, reflect, change, show the world she's more than a soundbite. Because right now, the fairest of them all is the one who knows when to hush and sparkle. Sparkle.